Hello everyone, my name is Nicholas Anthony, and today we're going to be talking about ethical data collection. So if you remember last week, I talked to you about our new mobile application and how we can use it to leverage strategic advantages for the company by accessing all of this customer data that we will have available. However, today we're going to go over how to do so in an ethical manner that doesn't compromise our company culture. So data collection should be done. These are just some general principles. It can be collected if it's relevant to the customer experience, and it can be saved if it benefits the customer and is actionable by the company. So what this means is that, for example, when a customer is signing up for our product, maybe we want to collect their phone number and then use that to send them an SMS text message to verify their identity and send them, a secure code. That's fine. But if we're not going to be messaging them ever again, we don't need to store that phone number. That's going to create excess data in the system that we're never going to be using and is only going to bloat the database. Furthermore, should the data become compromised, that's more customer data that is available or that has now been leaked and lost. So only storing data that is going to be long-term relevant or that will have historical context. So the phone number is probably not going to change, but also it's not going to display any trend for us, right? Versus collecting and storing data on pages that the user has viewed, that can help us create a customized experience that's personalized for each user on their own homepage. Because we have this data stored. So only storing data that is relevant and useful can help us prevent privacy violations. So internally, limiting the number of employees that have access is a great way to prevent privacy violations of this data. The database can also crash, so the less data that is stored on it, the better. Any excess data that was on there is just more data that we lost that belonged to our customer, and that's more data that we betrayed them on. We can also encourage our employees to accept and embrace this culture and to go through all of our applications with the customer and the security and safety of the customer's data in mind. Externally, we can use encryption to prevent from attacks, and we can encourage employees. We can set up procedures and processes where employees won't have access to super sensitive data, where they won't be able to clone data in any way, or at least it would be very difficult. That way, the data is not leaving the borders of the company. However, voluntarily sharing or selling the data, while this can be financially profitable, could compromise the integrity of the company and the trust that our customers are placing in us by using our applications. Therefore, this should be considered with extreme caution. So the risks with collecting excess data, as is currently proposed, is that it's going to be costly to increase the database size this much. Every column, so every type of data that we add, is going to have exponential rows per every time we get a new customer. If the database becomes unsecure, this is more data that's going to be lost and have to be recovered. And as I said before, more customer trust that will be lost. That is in today's society, basically unrecoverable. All of this excess data is also hard to analyze if you have to comb through all of these columns in the database and wonder where these fields are and what you're looking at and what you're looking for. It's just extra. Furthermore, anytime the user is interacting with our application, if they're using database resources, which things like viewing the map that we suggested earlier it's just going to slow down. And nobody likes to wait for a loading screen, so this is just going to become inefficient, and users are going to leave the application. And lastly, if people find out that we're sharing or selling this data, or that it's become compromised and lost, or that it's unsecure, the customer culture is just going to up and leave and no longer use our application. So typically, businesses collect data that's only useful. So this can include your name, your email address, which is used for verification, your physical address, which can also be used to verify your identity, as well as where you live. For this would be useful to provide local recommendations. The same thing with your current location. When you leave your home, your location will change, and now we can provide updated recommendations for you. I think it's a great idea to collect information on your birthday. This is a way to make sure that underage people aren't using our application for unintended purposes. And it's also a great way to prompt our users on their birthday with a little happy birthday from our app, and we can give them an additional discount. I have credit card number up here. This is collected by most companies, and any company that uses purchases, they offer to store your credit card number so it's easier for you to check out next time. I think this is something that we can consider, but it should be talked about and not just given for granted that we will store it. So one more time, ethics regarding data collection. Only collect what's used and use this data to improve the customer experience, not just benefit the company, and avoid selling or sharing our data unless the market advantage is extremely high. Sharing and selling data, specifically sharing even entire databases, can be quite dangerous if the other company is using the data for purposes that we don't deem ethical, or if their half of the database or one of their databases becomes infected or corrupted, it can leak into our data. So in review, collect data that's relevant to the user experience, store data that benefits the user and the company, and secure this stored data within our company. That's it for today. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed.